Hi everyone, it's Berry. And a few weeks ago, I was wondering what to draw, and I got an incredible idea. I found not one, but two of my old DeviantArt accounts. It was honestly hard to look at, but I decided to redraw one of my oldest digital pieces. I remember drawing this when I first got my Intuos tablet and no longer needed to use the mouse to draw. I was so amazed by how well the brushes could blend colors now, and I loved blending the hair and the skin. I was so proud of it at the time, but now after a lot of experience in art, I see many of my mistakes. So let's see what I've learned 11 years later. Oh my god. First thing I wanted to do differently is to draw a more expressive face. Her face was sad and it was looking up, but it barely had any depth. So for this redraw, I decided to give her a more expressive expression. I made her look more anxious, and I introduced the hands to accentuate that. Hands can add a lot to someone's expression. I made it so that she has her hands up, grabbing at her hair that is going out of control. This is all to show her feeling scared, out of control, and powerless. The next thing I wanted to do is to have better values. If you turn my old piece into grayscale, you will find that my range is not the worst when you look at the overall piece, but you will also find that it is pretty flat if you look at individual parts of the painting. By that, I mean her skin is almost all the same value, and same for her hair. So for this painting, I started off with grayscale first, to make sure I get all the values right before I start introducing colors. And I made sure that this time, every part had a good value range, meaning her skin alone had a good range, and so did her hair. I definitely added a lot more contrast in the face, since that is our focal point. The third thing was that I was a lot more mindful of shape language. The hair now had a shape that flowed along the canvas, instead of a big blob that just floated upwards. That way there were areas of rest, even throughout all of this hair. The fourth difference is that I was a lot more conscious with my edges. While I'm not fully well versed in edge control yet, but I definitely tried to utilize it for this piece. Her face has a lot more sharp edges, while I got away with much softer edges in the rest of the artwork. This way, I accentuated her face being the focal point more without risking any loss of attention with all the details in her hair and the wrinkles in the dress. I also adjusted her pose at the end and made it so that there's more of a gesture line and had her body appear more in the artwork. I did this to have more of a balanced composition so that it isn't all just hair. I also added a flowy dress that was inspired by ancient Greek sculptures. It was really fun rendering that one. I struggled a bit with adding colors at the end, but I think it worked out alright. I just had to make sure that I had a lot of variation, even within the same area that would have the same color. And this is the finished result. What would you have done differently? This was so much fun, and I really hope you guys like the end result, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!